And I think we should be yeah, I think we're live. Oh my God. So, hi folks, hi everyone. How's life? How's life? I hope no hackers around you. Today the topic is API security. You create your REST APIs, so good luck with that. So, and then you want to make it secure. Now you might have heard before of, let me bring up the Chrome here. You might have heard of the OWASP Top 10 project. OWASP Top 10 project, which is the web application security risks. The one that we are talking today about is not this. It's a different one. It's the API security, like a subset, I mean, not a subset, a different set of vulnerabilities specifically for REST APIs. All right. I'll bore you a bit with details about me. My name is Victor Renta. I am a Java champion of Romania. And after many years of coding, about 8 years ago, I decided the coding was not enough. So I started helping the others. Yeah, okay. And I turned into a full-time job for me. I'm not doing consultancy and trainings in various companies. I've just been to England today from my bedroom, of course, but very cool, very cool. So every week, workshops in different companies throughout Europe. My preferred topics, my favorite topics, of course, clean code architecture, unit testing. The frameworks on which I build applications, Spring, Hibernate, and Reactive, but I'm a Java guy, but I highly appreciate other frameworks also. Performance and secure coding, and what we discuss here about comes straight from the secure coding workshop. Fun fact, yesterday I had another discussion about OAuth. It's part of the Pentalog stuff. I will drop a link in the end in the meetup page. All right. If you want to know more about this stuff, you can find it on my website. You can also find on YouTube a lot of talks I gave at different conferences. And this event here is organized for you guys in the Zoom. The members of our beloved Bucharest software craftsmanship community, which grows insanely large, wildly exceeding my expectations. Almost 5,500 people out there. Passionate about clean code, growing, getting ourselves better, refactoring, unit testing. So if you want to be part of this wonderful community, do join us. You can find this on this link. And now it will be 1 hour, maybe 1 hour and a half, depending on your questions on different topics that I come across in my workshops, in my discussions. Technically, the stuff that I am asked very often, I will try out with you folks. Let's see what you think. So the point is for you to ask as many questions as you have, right? So, and don't hesitate to jump in and answer each other's question, right? Those of you who are in the YouTube page, I see several of you. If you want to be in the Zoom chat, here is the link to join the Zoom. Should be there, maybe on the chat on YouTube. I hope it's there. Yeah, it's there. Good. Okay, so I also have 2 children and a cat that wakes me up in the middle of the night. Good, done with me. Now, the winners. What winners? Was there any contest? No, the winners about the most common vulnerabilities in API security are these. Object and function level authorization. Folks, again, be careful here. Authorization means what you can do. Authentication means who the heck are you? Right? Like knowing who you are, knowing what you can do. It's a different thing. Notice the Z and the N. It's a different thing, right? Object and function level. And I will try to throw as many examples on you as I can today. And then excessive data, leaking too much data in the JSON response, forgetting to put limits on different axes, you will see. Taking for granted the fields coming in the request again to your server, your CA called master assignment, the famous injection that it's been with us for 30 years, starting with SQL injection. I'll try to demo some stuff else today, and some configuration stuff, like misconfiguring some frameworks that we have around. Good evening. Like not forgetting to remove an obsolete version from production, right? Or not logging enough so that you are unable to track down what data you lost, where were you hacked, what happened in the meantime, right? So now development. Now, software craftsmanship, this whole idea of becoming a better versions of professionals. I think many of us realize that just writing code is not not enough. It's not all. With the libraries we have today, with ChatGPT writing for us, with GitHub Copilot that basically turned my world upside down to this week when I first tried it. So with these tools around us, we don't only have to write code. We have also to manage operations. But what's missing in this picture? DevOps. DevOps. Okay. There is one more word missing. DevSecOps. What is that? Means that no matter how many tools you put on to scan for vulnerabilities, for example, Snyk, or there are many tools that can automatically scan for some flaws in your applications, you still, the better solution is to involve security in the early design of your microservice, not think of that as in a later stage. Think of these things as early as possible. Now, how would we do this? I will show you some examples, and I will beg you folks to be as verbose as possible and try to figure out. Hi Peter, hi Zoltan. Try to figure out what can go wrong while I show you the different requests and pages. Basically, I have a series of pages, and as usual, you can find all the Git, all the code that runs right now. I will put it in the Zoom chat over there, with the Git location and the branch that you can check on and see everything that we have. Oh, almost everything. Now it's really everything. Good, so let's start the game. Here is a page that displays the sales information. So jumping right in, I'll try to ask you folks, what can go wrong? You have a screen that shows you your sales. How does that work? You go to basically this data that you see in front of you here, like January sales, December sales. This data comes from this API, like shops. To what heck is that? To is my shop, the shop of the user with which I logged in, the shop of the user with which I am authenticated in the system. And if I go while authenticated to shops to revenue data, I can see the data of my revenues, right? That's or you can already throw ideas, right? Exactly. Information Peter already made, of course. And the ID, yes, I see the ID. Ooh. Can I play another ID here? Now, the next question is, where do I get the valid IDs from? Now, any reasonable site that has that hosts other shops to sell through that. If you want an example in Romania, it's EMAG Marketplace, right? Any reasonable platform that allows other shops to sell on it, like eBay or would want to brag about the shops they have. So there is this other endpoint that will brag about the shops, meaning, hey, look, we have these shops. So if you go to API vulnerability shops, you will find in the response the IDs of all the shops that are in this system. So let's try shop 714. If I take the ID 714 and I go back to the request, right? 714. I take this URL over here, copy. Just a link address is enough. Paste here. If I just change this to 714, right? Boom! These are not my data, these are other shops' data. And wait a second, let's scan the IDs. How about 713? Hey! Oh my god, data. This is super sensitive data. This could be my competitors, you see? Look, Peter is revealing that he actually. There you go. This is the number one. It's called broken object level authorization. Let's jump into slides. I will mix both here. So PowerPoint, please. So if you have this application, for example, another example, storing customers from 10 countries. Assuming a logged in user can update customer or can see customers. By the way, the fact that they can update customers is called function level. I mean, I have the button and the ability in general to update customers, but can I update and read any customer of any country? I don't think so. So this is the difference. Function level authorization might mean that you can update customer. Object level authorization might mean that you can update that customer in particular by that ID. So object level authorization, it's a bit of it's strange names here. Object level authorization, a user can only access objects that they should have access to, right? So every endpoint that receives an ID of an object should perform a check whether to validate that the logged in user does have access to perform that action on that object. It's about systems keeping data for a lot of customers, a lot of countries, regions, corporate versus personal customers. But there is more. The attack we just saw is this, the shops, right? We could actually get the sales data of thousands of other e-commerce stores. But since this is number one, this is like the top most frequent flaw in the design of APIs, request parameter instead of path variable. Path variable, well, that's a path variable, not a request param. Isn't it easier? And it's not about what design is easier, it's about flaws. We can do this trick with both. Nothing changed. I mean, like, if I put this after the question mark here, ID equals 712, if this is the way I would take the ID, the same thing would happen, right? Nothing would change. Now, this next example is a very dear example of mine. To protect the innocents, I won't tell you anything more about who and where. And I've been to hunt over 100 companies, and I've seen stuff, right? I've seen many. Anyway, I've seen too much. This application over here allows manages politically exposed persons, like mob, like government members and stuff like that, right? We will get to that, Peter, in a second. So, if to access any certain politically exposed person, like the Romanian prime minister, the Romanian president, the French ambassador, or stuff like that, you will need to retrieve the data using such a call. Fair enough. Now, if you see 173, the first thing you should think of, wait a second, let me scan the IDs. The same thing I did here. Hey, let me try 711. Is that a sequential number? Thank you. More data. I could just download all the data. Very easy, right? So if someone would just do a firing request at my API, it would be able to download all my politically exposed persons. So backend should check the access record belongs to the user region that he is allowed to see, not just any region, right? Because each authenticated user can see only those in its own region. Okay, so that should do it. Now, one workaround on this, which is interesting to keep in mind, is to maybe not only that, just this, to pass instead of the numeric number, like sequential number, a UUID. Now, what would the hacker have to do? What? Come up with another UUID, but there are billions, trillions. How could you scan them all, right? And if you would try to brute force and to just scan all the possible UUIDs, I can easily catch the guy with a rate limiter. Like, hey, are you human? Why are you sending 10,000 requests per second to my API? What happens? Right. So putting a UUID, which is very large, it's a good, like, let's say, preventive action, but nothing compares to checking with an if that the user does have access to read that shop data. One possible solution to the problem that we just saw right now is that when the page loads, I will not have to pass my ID in. Why do I pass my ID if that's bound to the user with which I authenticated? This too is already known to the system. So this API is wrong. The API design was wrong from the first place. It should go like my, you see? Shops, my shop, revenue data. It should not allow random access to any ID of any shop. And that solves the problem from start. What if the user owns 2 shops? Point taken. If the user owns 2 shops, then you have to do this. You're perfectly right. Yes. Now, this token that I mentioned over here might allow such a link to actually be emailed to someone. By clicking the link, you might be able to see the data even without authentication. Weird requirement, isn't it? And that token is just valid for, I don't know, half a day or 4 hours. If you don't access the link, you lost it. You have to log in. It's a risky design, what I'm trying to sketch. I wanted to skip that, so don't mind it. And the second user also has shop 1 and shop 2. Yeah, I understand. Yes. No. 2 users. No, I want to basically, Alexander wants to just log in with the user and see both its shops automatically. That's a valid. It could happen. Now, let me tell you another example, which is a bit more scary to me because it's actually real. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, go. Step 1, patient details. You provide you create an appointment to a clinic. In the first step, the system asks for your details: name, phone, email. Okay. I will open the debugger. Create profile. The first request sends this data to the server and gets in the response a number. That number represents the new patient ID that just got created. What happens next? Well, in the next step, the user has to provide the appointment details: what specialty, what date, what hour, and so on and so on and so on. And when the user creates the appointment request, in that second request, as the appointment, as the patient ID, the application, the JavaScript application, would send the patient ID that was created in step 1. Now, nothing necessarily evil yet, but you know what happens? This request to create an appointment would bring back to the browser the data of the appointment containing the patient email, name, and phone that were previously fed in this endpoint, in the first step. So the first step created the patient, got back an ID, took that ID, send it back to the server along with these details, and the server replied back with these details from here and these details from here in the last result. What can go wrong? Look in the preview, you see? So the email, name, and phone are mirrored back by the server. Basically, it goes like this, right? I can use only one form for entering data at once. That could be, look, me here in YouTube is very right. Why don't I send a single chunk of all the data? I'll tell you what, for marketing purposes. Why? Marketing explicitly requested that this information is captured as fast as I can so that I can phone the guy, email the guy, bug him, insist that he really completes the appointment. So that's not XSS. No. Not XSS. It's easier. I don't need to inject any script. No. The request you send in step 2 includes the ID of the user that you created in step 1. And the data you get back from the server will output the data associated with this ID. Exactly. I would create an appointment, putting in here a random, not here, but in the payload, a random patient ID. Let's see how this is done. Copy as CURL, open my friend Postman. Postman is opening, so please. Good. Import, raw text, paste, continue. And then I will put in my body another patient. Okay, so what was my patient? My patient was Trot. Let's try 133. What happens? Send. No ID there. Let's try another one. Nothing. Let's try. Send. Hey, who the heck is this patient 970 with his phone number and his email? Hey, I just leaked out patient IDs, patient information. I can be sued right now. Right? I leaked out emails, phones of, and you know the best part? This API did not have to be, could not have been authenticated. This is an anonymous flow because I want anyone to be able to create an appointment. So basically, an anonymous user can run this flow and download all my patient data. How cool is that? Right? Because in the post, it can sneak in any ID of random patient that they think. Using a UUID will make it much harder to guess another patient ID. And it's a good, let's say, quick fix. Other solutions might involve preserving session on the server side. Or not reflecting back the data from the server, but just keep this in the browser and just copy it back there. Of course, there are corner cases in which this would not work. Perhaps you want to double check the phone, to check the email, to format them in a sense, so the server might want to kick in. But, REST services should be stateless. There you go. There's one vulnerability. The same vulnerability. Broken object level authorization. All right? That's the first one. The story written in longer English is here. Okay. That was fun. How a person can casually request in real life. Oh, F12. F12. I didn't do anything magic. F12. Look, in front of it, you'll see in the recording. I will just do the same stuff there, and I'll just take the request from my debugger, right-click, the debugger is by default installed, copy as cool. Yeah, you have to have some skills, but any anonymous user can do this. Right? What will you prefer to avoid? How will I prefer to avoid it? I told you several solutions, preserving state in the server for this interaction with the browser. So I will only see that patient created before, or not reflecting this information from the server, but copying it from here to there. Yeah, exactly, like a session. Exactly this example. Very good. Right, but again, there are many ways to fix any vulnerability I will show you today. I want just to walk you through some of the major ones. As long the moment you realize what the flaw is, you can find ways to fix it, right? But the important thing is to think of the problem first. Here, number 2, broken user authentication. Authentication, meaning login. Authentication endpoints and flows, including forgot password, are assets that need to be protected more than regular endpoints. So an API is vulnerable if it permits the attacker to try. I'm not sure if you know about this site. Don't enter this in your browser. I understood that even entering your email over here is a bad thing to do. So don't do what I'm doing right now. But my email was part of 15 data breaches, 15 sites in which I had an account with my username, got hacked, and my password is now in the dark web. You can purchase packages of combinations of user passwords on money, right? Or probably cryptocurrency, but you can pay with stuff. So here is one hacker buying such files, gigabytes of combinations, trying them all at your system, just in case. Just in case. This is called credential stuffing. Right? After a while, you need to present a captcha. There are tools, of course there are tools, because you're an engineer. You can build such tools, can we? I build a tool like that in a second, I'll show you. Now, what you should do after the request number 10,000 from the same IP in the same second, 10,000 requests per second from a single IP. Are you nuts? You should present a captcha. Are you human? Please click on the cactus. I mean, like, what the heck is that? That's a robot trying user password combinations, right? So you should protect that. Of course, you should protect that. But there is one more distinction here. You might not have an anonymous user trying to stuff you with user passwords. You might have a logged in user unleashing hell on your APIs. I say, wait a second, what are you doing? Shutting down. We mean like locking out the account, right? If you try to call a Google API 10,000 requests per second, they will lock you out. Saying, hey, do you want an upgrade in your payment? So there are different approaches, whether you know who is targeting you or not. Passwords, remember 10 years ago? We had to choose 8 characters password. That's what I got when I got hired like 16 years ago. 8 character password. Amazing job. They are asking us passphrases now of 20 sentences instead, because they are much, much harder to brute force. Right? URLs. If you put a token in a URL, the Apache, the reverse proxy, many systems might keep a track of all the URLs that went through those systems. And maybe a rogue developer can just pick those, I don't know. If you get access to those logs, you can just take the token from the URL and play it and impersonate someone. OpenID Auth does not send the token in the access token in the URL. It sends it in the body of the response from the authorization server. Yeah, but yeah. Another thing is that you might forgot, or I don't know, not validate signatures for your GVT tokens, right? One-time valid token, that will be a lot of issuing over there. No, access tokens usually last for several minutes, right? If in those minutes, if a hacker steals your token, he can impersonate you, right? GVT that don't come signed to you, you should reject those, right? Or expired tokens, right? You get the point. Or if you manipulate passwords in plain text, who the heck does that? Storing a human password in plain text is a no-no. Never. Decrypt it, hash it, salt it, do something. Don't just manipulate strings with human passwords. If a hacker has access to that machine, it could dump your HIP on the disk, look in the heap for passwords, and then try to attack other systems. It's very, 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 very dangerous to manipulate user passwords. That's why we now rely to single sign-on, like OAuth, hash, keyclocks, and a central login, basically, and we use token-based authorization, not passwords. XMAC, I was told by a pen tester not to enter my email in have I been pwned. I don't know more than that. I'm not into dark web and stuff, but just don't do that. Yes, check OWASP site for how to decrypt, encrypt, hash salt your passwords, right? But in general, just run away from user passwords anytime you can, anywhere, anytime you can do that. Good. Another fun example is when a hacker comes with a Wi-Fi router next to your to where you deployed your system and offers free Wi-Fi. And then when you connect the free Wi-Fi, if you want to log into the, I don't know, intranet, it will present you a phishing site looking just like the login that you use to your company, and asking for your user password, for your employee user password. You see the point? If you are not careful what Wi-Fi you connected, you might be seeing a phishing website looking just like login.intra, right? Not very, very, very ugly stuff. Or emails. As we got when I was part of a big company for 7 years, I got emails like this, like every, I don't know, 6 months. Hey, you are entitled to win a laptop of 5,000 euros, a new laptop, workstation rotation or refresh, they called it. But just log in with your user in this site. And the site went login@mintra.com. It was not the official login site. So if I am in the intranet and I click on that link, it will get me to a site that might look exactly like my internal login, asking, basically phishing for my user password. Nice. But again, this is somehow not necessarily immediately our you can do two-factor. There are solutions for each of these, but this is what you mean broken user authentication. Right? So did you win that laptop? I won once. I was told by my people manager that I need to go to the security training once more. I logged in. Of course, who the heck doesn't want that laptop, right? Okay, so of course, streaming from that laptop. And no, that's bought on my own freelancing money. Good. Let's see one example. You could say stupidish, but yeah. Reset your password. Click. Hey, give me your username, user. Reset. We've just sent you a 6-digit code on your phone. It will never be more than 6 digits because it's annoying. 6 digits is something that the human brain can remember. It can copy from the screen to the laptop without looking twice. 6, 5, that kind of. So you will have to guess a 6-number digit and then set the new password that you want to set. Right? That's a password reset flow. Now, what is wrong with that? Nothing is immediately wrong until I brute force it. The exact code exceeds the scope today. I'm just running in multi-thread all the possible combinations, technically trying to reset the password 1 million times for the same username and trying the same code, basically. And no, the other way. I'm trying different codes following the same password reset request. I do one reset password request and then 1 million attempts with different codes using multi-thread. Right? And if this returns true, it means that I was able to change the password. There you go, password changed. And if I look in the server API, you will see here somewhere the user victim has a new password hacked. I don't have to tell you how bad it is to put the plain text password in the logs, I hope. You wouldn't be attempting desterning if you had any. This is very, very bad, but I'm doing it for demonstrating purposes, right? So my user account was just hacked because I did not have any rate limiter enabled. So what could be the solution for this? Just uncomment this line and enjoy life. Rate limiter. That will limit to 5 per minute attempts, or I don't know, maybe a set of possible attempts. You only have 3 attempts left, right? But if they give you only 3 attempts, you could brute force the first step. Let me try to reset my password. I only got 3 attempts, okay, good. I will try to reset my password 1 million times in this hour, trying the same code every time after each reset attempt. How would you need to rate limit the number of times you allow a user to try to reset the password. Also, first step. Let's see. A company I'm working for sends regular phishing emails to test his own employees. That's exactly what happened to me. That's a common in a lot of companies. Yes, it's not bad to let them in clear text. Maybe the hacker had a hard day, make him happy. Exactly. About using user ID and password, how can I access admin side? Only client side with compromise. User ID and password, how can I don't really get me here. Please rephrase. No Guava, this is resilience for J. Guava would work also. Any rate limiter works. No? Or stick it in clear text, in clear as application property. Yeah. Or that scary moment when you get a reply from a website telling you, we just changed your password. Here is your new password. This is super scary. All right. Yes, with the attack will be available on YouTube. Right. This is like broken user authentication. Now, excessive data exposure. This is so beautiful. Let me show you. Let's see first. This I don't want your imagination here. I will show you. It's pretty straightforward. Here, you have a list of articles, and you click one of these links, and you see about below here the article. This is the title. This is the body, right? And the body tells us, please check out the JSON response you got to this page. And then you have publishing date and the comments. And there are two comments. King Julian said lame, and Julie said, wow, that's the best post ever. If I look in the network traffic, however, in the response, I would see indeed the date, they correspond. The date is here, the title is here, the text is there. There you go. But then I have the comment section. In the comment section, I have two comments. You're right, 0 and 1. But you know when it gets funny? When I see that the first comment includes author details, not only the name.
Ooh, what does this button do? Please, please, do not push the button. You have no idea.
You would ask, how is this possible? I mean, if you saw emails in plain text in front of you, that would be a terrible problem, right? But they are in JSON, not displayed, right? Bigger is no, Peter. This time, bigger is not better. Excellent. Data exposure. What I did here is a terrible thing. I exposed in a REST API the full entity. I serialized the domain entity, not a DTO. I won't fix it. I will just show you the problem. The moment you serialize the whole entity, the Jackson, the framework, will transitively serialize the whole object graph. And of course, the blog article has a link to the blog article comment, and that blog article comment has a blog user, and the blog user has an email. Congratulations, you've been hacked. Right? So don't expose like entities. That's terrible practice in architecture and design. Expose exactly DTOs that contain only the required data to display. That's why we have DTOs. You could say that. You're right. You could say that to know exactly well what goes on. Even inspecting the open API contract would have told you the story. Let's try V3. If I go here for article, let's see if I can traverse this very easy. Blog list DTO. Is this the one? No, that got all articles here, there, and the integer. This is a parameter. And where the heck is the response, please? Response 200, and then blog article. Even if you look in here, blog article comment, blog article comment, blog user, blog user. You don't have to be a hacker to. Okay, good. Hope it's clear. Next one. Lack of resources and rate limiting. Now, it starts very soft, this one. API requests consume, but we had to go to production really, really fast, Peter. Yes, exactly. We had to ship software. Agile. API requests consume shared resources, network, CPU, memory, and disk. Duh. Now, there can be light tasks, for example, getting the patient history. There can be super heavy tasks, for example, exporting patients, generating invoices, PDF reporting, and so on. And that can lead to competition. Denial of service, exactly. But you don't have to throw the first D in. Folks, Rado is talking dirty words in chat over here. I want to share them with you. I see this word in Zoom chat. This word mean, if I just skip the first D, means denial of service, right? Denial of service means that the system is down because whatever, just not serving requests anymore. Typically, the way to denial of service a system would be just to fire 1 million requests per second to that system. It will fall. But you have firewalls before you. Those are not stupid. They will find, hey, there is one IP talking to me 1 million requests per second. Could that be a hacker? I mean, it will ban the IP immediately, right? That's why the only reasonable way to actually be denial of service is to have a distributed denial of service. What do you mean to be distributed? To have a 10,000 IPs giving you one request per 100 milliseconds. 10,000 IPs. You can't ban them all. They seem legitimate, right? So you need machine learning to track down patterns and stuff. It's not that easy in practice. But, WAF, yes, web application firewall, if it's correctly configured, yes. What makes me wonder if there's a tool that can scan Swag or open up a definition for vulnerable responses? Please ask ChatGPT for this, Dimitri. I'm pretty sure there are already tools using artificial intelligence to scan for such vulnerabilities, including SNCC, as far as I heard from one of the authors. So a machine learning, an artificial could think, hey, should I expose emails? They could figure this out. They will be able to figure this out. But it's still, by then, our responsibility, right? Someone actually complained that the fields being named password and username. Yes, renaming the field. Brilliant. As bandit will be full. Okay, Radu is really had the distributed denial of service problem. And you might know that this is actually resolved at the DNS level at some point. Yeah, exactly. It's much more complicated than I want to go today. For now, right, I have an API that has to have limits for timeouts. How much should the application server wait for a response, for a request to finish processing? By default, it's a minute. It's in the Java world. But what human, especially born after 2000s, do you think will wait for 1 minute looking at their screen, at their mobile, in the metro? 1 minute. 1 minute might be way too high, right? Maybe 20 seconds, maybe 10 seconds, but having 1 minute to work on a single request, if they fire you a heavy request, they might just take you down for a full minute. Right? What's that, Rag? Snake code, excellent. Good. There you go. Okay, all right, nice. Thank you. Artificial intelligence, you say, probably. Okay, exactly what we do. Thank you so much, Doug, for helping. Excellent. Now, this execution timeout over here, it might be too much. The memory you take for solving a certain request, I don't know how to limit this in Java, but in PHP, you can just set the max memory for the PHP instance, for example. The maximum payload size. Is it okay for a user to upload you a profile photo of 1 gigabyte? As a profile photo. Are you not? So, again, mind the defaults, mind the uploads, right? Request rate. Max 10 per second. That's easy, right? Max 10 per second. Max 10 per second. Max 10 per second. Max 10 per second. The one that I have here gives you 5 per minute. 5 per minute. Okay? Now, this is the request rate. But many times, especially legacy systems, are more concerned about concurrent requests. Let's see. A zip bomb. Circuit breakers are more... No, it won't. Yes, it won't. Zip bomb. I won't dive in zip bombs today. How would you rate that in a microservice using multi-pod infrastructure? You will put a rate, this rate limiter that you have here, it can take this information. How many tokens do I have? How many fires do I have left from a central Redis to orchestrate a distributed rate limiting? That's when you have like 5 pods targeting a legacy system and you want the 5 pods not to kill the poor legacy system. You put a Redis in between that takes into account who, and Resilience4j can just take the information from a shared Redis. Right. Now, besides the request per second, the more important limit sometimes is how many requests in parallel are you struggling to take. 3. I know systems that if they take 10 systems in parallel, they will just fall. COBOL mainframe systems, right? So protect those. Limit load per endpoint, like the whole endpoint should be protected, or maybe per user. That's a library in Java called Bucket4j that can limit the amount of requests a single user can do. That's interesting for public APIs, right? Even scheduler. We didn't break the... Lost the track on that chat. Max number that's fun. That's very fun. That's the vulnerability I want to show you next. Here. Oh, it's a bit unexpected. That's why I want to show it to you. This is a gaming website, and there is a leaderboard of all the players. Many of them are bots, of course, to simulate activity and social engagement, blah, 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 blah. But if you want to fetch the list of the top 50 leaders, you will send a request, leaderboard, page 1, size 50. Now your turn. What can go wrong if this is how your API looks? What can the hacker do? This is public information, right? You want to show how many users you have, how many points. Yeah, exactly. Copy this as link address, paste that, put size a bit larger. What happens? Just a second. Nothing. Again. Enter.
Ooh, what does this button do? Please, do not push the button. You have no idea.
I need to close this as fast as I can because otherwise Chrome sometimes blows up. I just downloaded several hundred megabytes in a single tab. But my system got one CPU burned out for 20 seconds, 5, 10 seconds. If I should throw, yeah, this would, why not, Zoltan? Is Spring pagination putting any limit? I didn't test that. Let me see how I do that right now. It's about rate limiter. You may be right there. Let's see, limits. I am using query top layers. Pageable of cells. No, I'm using Spring Data GPA. There you go. No, my bad. I am faking this. No, I'm not really querying any data source. No. I didn't want to insert 1 million rows anywhere. So yeah, there might be some limited, but still, if you are using the GPA directly, or I don't know, GDBC or any other, you are prone to this problem. It's not rate limiting anything fancy, just a very big page size. I should test that as well. Spring pagination provided, but I need to set the limit as I remember. Interesting. Good point. Good. Next. Good. So page size, 200,000 can performance the data. It can burn the database also, right? So any other user accessing the same application might see a denial of service, basically, a long latency in response or even an error, right? Or maybe a single user is sending 100 heavy requests per second to export invoices. What kind of a user would send that? I don't know, a mad one. But if a rogue employee sends 100 requests per second to export results as PDF, the medic trying to see a patient over there won't be able to access the patient data because I'm exporting the PDF. Right? The CPU is burning out. I'm done. I'm killed, right? Basically. And even though you've reached the 10 pods maximum, 100 requests per second will kill you because the export might take, like, let's say, 20 seconds to complete. And those 20 seconds, 100 new per every second. It will flood you and you will die, basically. Next one is very fun. I had a more elaborate example in another place, but let's see if I have one here. I don't think I do. My bad. But I will use your imagination for this. The delete button. Okay, what's with the delete button? I will just sketch the code. Can you imagine a developer rushing? Maybe I'll put the story. The story is very fun. It's very realistic. During a hectic development iteration, a full stack development team fixed 12 bugs, shipped 3 new screens, and implemented 5 change requests in 2 weeks. Several weeks later, the product is deployed to production. Scanning the network traffic on the web page with F12, an attacker finds this request: get training 12. Look, I can show you the request so that you can believe me. Get training 12. Now tell me, wherever there is a get training 12 by REST standards, what would the hacker try to do? Imagine the button weren't here. Imagine this button is not there. Exactly. Right? It's yeah. Not iterate this time. This time I'm trying to access a feature that I don't see in the user interface. What will the hacker do? Copy this as CURL, put it in Postman. They have other tools, to be honest, but yeah, that's good enough for our demo today. When I copy the request from the browser, the most important thing that goes along is the cookie. The cookie that basically contains my user session. So me, as logged in the system, I would do not a get, but a delete. Delete, send, 200, okay. Maybe if the button weren't there, you would still be able to delete. Burp, yes, that's one very good tool. Burp, exactly. For pen testing. So even though there is no delete button displayed in the UI, the attacker takes an educated guess and sends a delete training 13. That successfully deletes the training. In other words, UI actions was removed, but backend endpoint was not secured. I had 2 of these when I was pen tested several years ago, many years ago. That's why the UI validation is nice to have, but server side is not optional. Yeah, and also another rule, whenever you want to restrict a certain feature from a user, do not start by hiding the UI button. Please, start by banning, by blocking the backend endpoint. See the 403, see the error, and then hide the button. It's important how you approach this problem. Start with the backend, see the error, enjoy the error, yeah. And then you patch and you hide the front end, right? So server-side validation. This is probably one of the most important lessons today. Server-side validation is the only required thing. The front-end button disappears just for you improving the user experience, not to frustrate the user. It will be really weird to show a button that they can't press, isn't it? That's a UX thing. Don't mix up things. UX is for the front end. And the backend really has to make sure that the request coming in really does have necessary permissions. Otherwise, for O3. Very important this. Very important. I myself had 2 of these. Exactly because of this. We rushed and things got out of hand. There is another variant for this. Someone inspecting the minified JavaScript code and looking for the strings, for the request strings. Basically, they can reverse engineer the URLs you would otherwise send to the server. So never ever think JavaScript is secret. Or yeah, that's in the browser side. Any logged in user, sometimes the JavaScript can actually be accessed even by not authenticated users. Right? Anyone can read that JavaScript code and they can take advantage. Good. Another one, this is very fun. Just keep in mind every time, yeah, the user is by default evil. The browser is by default corrupted. You are under attack. You are under attack. You will be hacked. You are being hacked. I don't want to ruin your evening today. So master assignment, this one is very fun. I want to start with the demo. This is really, I mean, when I read about this, I actually couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, would anyone do that? But then I wrote 7 lines of Java code that manifested this problem. Let's see. Let's see what's wrong. These endpoints are not protected neither on URL level, neither on method level. Yes. You should have tests blowing up because of authorization. If you, at least if you expose an endpoint in the internet, anything in the internet that has roles or a larger network, the larger the network, the larger the bigger the danger, of course. If you have an intranet in which 250,000 employees connect to applications, that's almost like internet. So yeah, it's much more risk than in a small company that 20 users log into applications. We have now, right? The dinner, yes, of course. Username, name, country, cache. Username, name, country, cache. F12. The first thing that you probably will do from now on, F12. What exactly comes here? Comes the cache, of course the cache has to come from the backend. Country, name, username. Good. Now, let's update the country from Belgium to Netherlands. Update. What happens now? I send a request with this payload. Full name, country. Of course. What would you expect? Of course, what do you expect? But watch this very carefully again. The details came with a get and brought this data. The update went with a put, taking this data in. Any idea? But what do you mean? Let's try to copy this as CURL the same way. Taking this from here, putting it in my postman over there, import, raw, paste, continue. Go to the body. Oh, error while importing. What are you talking about? It didn't work. Let's try again. So copy, maybe I clicked the wrong one. Copy as QRL. Oh, this one. Okay. Let's try again. Import, raw, paste, continue, import, done. Body. It reminds me of the times when I was hacking my games. Free cash! Free cash for everyone! All right. What's the problem here? I am using the same object to get results in the front end and then update. There are multiple problems in there. I don't want to basically bore you much, but the main problem is I'm using the same DTO to update the details and to send the data out. I should be using a different DTO, a different structure. Following command query responsibility segregation, I should have requests. This should be like update player request. This should be get player details response. Dedicated, yeah, exactly. Dedicated object, right? Good. That was fun. The mass assignment, you got the point. I won't bore you with all the details. You understood what happens. You blindly take data from the JSON, from the request JSON, and you copy that data into your entities blindly. And that can go wrong for a number of reasons. The user might update the cache, might make himself admin, might make himself VIP, might change the created author of an article to blame someone else. It can take multiple forms, changing auditing, elevating permissions, or giving oneself money. Right? Can provide some scenarios on how coarse misconfiguration can be exploited. Not today. Unfortunately, it takes 30 minutes just to get the whole picture in. No, sorry. Security misconfiguration would go as the next one, which basically let's read them once. Improperly configured permissions on cloud service. I was basically talking about administrative console that we didn't, or files we didn't correctly. Security patches, we're missing security patches. Features, or this transport level, we are not using HTTPS between the mobile and the backend, for example. And anyone can sniff. I just Googled how this can be done. Actually, I asked ChatGPT, how can I sniff traffic between my mobile app and the backend? And if you are not using HTTPS, this traffic can be intercepted by anyone, basically, right? Even if it's a mobile app, and you think, it's a mobile app. They can sniff you at the network adapter level, right? Of course, not today, unfortunately, I told you. Error messages that leak stack traces, that present the whole exception, will tell the hacker exactly what frameworks you were using. Yes, Zoltan, do a post afterward. Now, a hot topic for many of us today is what do we do if you have a vulnerable dependency? What's that? The famous CVE. If you've heard of log4j, log4shell 0-day, the vulnerability from 2021. Basically, nowadays, even IntelliJ, there are plugins, tools that can stick in your build pipeline to tell that your dependencies are vulnerable. But what do you do when you have a vulnerable dependency? What do you do? A more honest question. Suppress. So this guy, I'm gonna kill the library. But what if you need that? Snake YAML in Spring is still an issue. Yes, if you're using references. HTTPS from client up to Kubernetes, but not until the pod is vulnerable, depending on if you have an API gateway in a private cloud. So upgrade, I mean like upgrade, you mean, Ilana, upgrade the version. Yes, no. Don't do that. Upgrade the library and hope it will work. Now, if you were in a managed version ecosystem like a Spring Boot ecosystem, you will have to upgrade the whole ecosystem. Or Quarkus or Macronaut, they do the same. I upgrade the whole Spring Boot. I'm not sure if you realize the dangers, and I'm not sure if you realize why you should start going to church if you do that. Can you imagine how many things can break if I do this? But that would basically raise the whole ecosystem. All the library versions will change, right? Then there is another trick I heard. If you have a library that has a transitive vulnerable dependency. So my first library that I use is okay. Just that it uses that other one, which is bad. You could exclude maybe the transitive dependency or upgrade that one. So don't just ignore or increase the risk level or just ignore stuff. You could exclude the transitive dependency, right? Or configure the library to block. Maybe you can do a code thing that it will avoid the vulnerability or block that feature. Or you could, in the worst case scenario, patch the library. Don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, avoid doing that. Right? Or maybe, as you said, kill the library, take another one. Like Jason Smart. Just random words. Good. Next one. I don't have much time left. I will demo this one last and then we will end. Yes, but that's the last fun one. How to put this in for you not to, just a second. So, all right. If you have this, search of students, it allows you to pass a name, for example, A. Oops, I did something wrong. My bad. Damn it. I think I need to restart the application. Let's try once more. I'm going to tell you about injection. Let's have this comics. Hi, this is your son's school. We're having some computer trouble, says the faculty or whatever, the high school. The mom says, oh dear, what did he break something? In a way. And then the secretary from the high school, did you really name your son Robert, quote, close parenthesis, semicolon, drop table students, semicolon, dash, dash. What? Well, we've lost this, yes, little Bobby Dables, we call him. Well, we've just lost this year's student records. I hope you've learned to sanitize your database inputs. What the heck of a joke is this? Computer scientist joke. What exactly happens here? Let's try again the demo to see if it works now. So, there you go. You can search by A. You can search by an, which will only leave this result, because it's the only one containing an. If I search for example, PI, I will get the same, the first one again. This is probably one of the oldest attacks you would hear of. And they all start like this. They say, wait a second, let's try the following. Let's try to search by A and then close the quote, semicolon, Maria, where? Maria, and then delete from student, semicolon, comment whatever comes after, search. But if I search again, nothing comes back. Whoa, what the heck happened? I just wiped out the student table. And it gets better, of course. Drop table. Oof. The next time you search, you get exceptions back. Bad SQL. Saying that basically there is no table. Student. What the heck is that? SQL injection, one of the oldest, and you're right, Marius. Prepared statements or using question marks, not concatenating SQL. I will throw this at you now and we'll finish. Look, it's about injecting unsanitized user input into various queries. SQL, NoSQL, GPQL, operating system, file names, unsanitized user input who's fed to some parser or some, I don't know, command interpreter. And here's the example that we saw in the demo right now. An attacker enters this search and sees the name ending in A. So basically, look, I will show you right at the end. The mistake is that in the code, I'm doing this. I'm doing plus, and I'm concatenating SQLs together. This is a very, very old mistake. I'm pretty sure none of you does that. So there you go. If you pass here a string that is exactly this string from here to here, all right, this baby. If you concatenate and if you let the parser run this SQL, you will run this SQL and the SQL, and then drop tables to them, and then ignore whatever comes after. It's a very old technique, one of the warm-up exercises for hackers. Right? Hey, let's do an SQL injection. How do we do that? Right? So as a general rule, only use prepared statements, named parameters. Do not concatenate queries like this. There is a picture for you. Spring sanitizes the input. No, we need to do that. What is that? Really now? Beautiful. I will keep this picture. Oh my God. Oh, please. Excellent. Excellent. Perfect. All right. And you know what the fun thing? There is a smart webcam that scans this number and checks whether the number is allowed to enter the parking lot. Oh my God, I can see this happening. I really can. I mean, who thinks about SQL injection when you do scanning of the plates when you enter the parking lot, right? Prepare statement saves it. All right. Now, if you put prepared statement, okay, it goes like this. Instead of this, I would put a question mark here, and then pass the actual argument here. In my case for GDBC template, but if you're using prepared statement, I'm falling in too much Java, I'm afraid. Set parameter, set string, the parameter, and the actual, by the way, this is Copilot over here. Thank you. Artificial so basically this baby over here fills up this hole in the query. So basically the driver takes care not to allow SQL syntax bits. It's just a value, just a string, not SQL part. Right? It wasn't that fun. Wasn't that fun. Wasn't that fun. Definitely you need to read more if you want to go more into details. But what can I say? I'm close to 1 hour, so I will let your questions drive further. If you want to have more debates, repeat the question or ask now, and I can stay to answer any concerns you have. If you don't have any, I will wish you a happy DevSecOps life. But and with this keyword in here, but I can add it to your CV, to your resume. But no, really, if you have any Copilot, Marius, worried or excited? Do I want this baby little here to be my enemy or my friend? I definitely don't want it to be my enemy. So I will use it from now on 100%. You can't run away from this. This is coming. This is coming. I can testify that 30% of the code that I wrote during the workshop I did the last 4 days, 30% of the code was guessed by Copilot. 30% was obvious in the context because the exercises kind of make stuff obvious anyway, and I can write tests with Mockito that tap. I would write tests like anyway. What else? Upgrade dependencies in Spring ecosystem. To come back to that question, which is a really, really tough question. If you have a vulnerability, where is that? Let me search for the slide. If you have a vulnerability, you can upgrade the individual dependency you have, or you could try to upgrade the whole Spring Boot version ecosystem, the whole everything. Of course, it's better to try to upgrade the whole Spring Boot, but there is more risk involved. New Hibernate, new Jackson, new OpenAI, new Swagger, new stuff. Right. So I would try to. If I have to fall, I want to fall from a beautiful horse. not sure if this is translatable to other languages, but in Romanian, this is what we say. So let me try this first. If I find any problems in 1 hour, testing everything and checking stuff, then I will probably revert to this. Let's see what else. You should do follow-ups. We've just touched the surface. I know, Zoltan. I know, but it can get too niched, too cornered, too deep and too niched. So I'm trying just to, I don't know, start some flame over there to set some sparks. And if you are interested in this, I will tell you this is one of the most well-paid profession branch of IT. One of the most well-paid profession sub-branches of IT is pen testing. Yeah. What else? You should, okay, Copilot for product software. It's complicated. Law department. The Copilot, if correct me if I'm wrong, it can run in hosted environments. Let's see if I'm right. Can I run Copilot in hosted mode? No code is sent outside of Copilot. I should ask ChatGPT this. Offline mode. Copilot, and this is what is the end of this? Tab 9. I'm not the one. I didn't find what I wanted. I may be wrong here. Dependable or tools like this. Dependable. Dependable. If I'm not mistaken, rather than IntelliJ. Let me go to my POM. Every POM that I've seen recently has some security vulnerabilities in some place somewhere with yellow. There you go. There you go. All right. This is powered by check marks, but IntelliJ shows you that. Dependable. Not sure where dependable will kick in at the build. Because what I have in my project, I have this baby, dependency check from OWASP that will check all the dependencies for vulnerabilities and provide a report that can fail the build later if it found any major or something, right? So this can be integrated with the build pipeline, of course. Right? What is this highlight tool you use for the presentation? It's called ScreenBrush. Is there a security risk by using Copilot, getting predictions, means sending some information to Copilot? That's the concern that also Vasile was talking about. I am a bit worried myself that the code, it will scan my code and feed that as learning material to the Copilot on GitHub. But if Copilot doesn't have yet an on-site setting, probably it will appear soon. I don't know the answer to this question. I will research. I understand it's a bit tricky about privacy of the code. Right. What else? Could you provide a way to upgrade? I think I've covered the questions. All right. More ideas? I'll put a progress bar in case there are no questions until I reach there. How to deal with GDPR? I was waiting for this question. Thank you, Alexander. GDPR in security, privacy, data privacy. There are some tricks you can do. The main problem in GDPR is the right to be forgotten. How the heck do you implement that? How the heck can you promise to someone that you don't know anything more about that someone ever again? One problem is when you store the data in different databases. When you store the data, that data might get stored, it is stored in plain text, right? Like name, phone, email, and stuff like that. Based on that, they can reverse engineer who the patient, the human is. One idea is to encrypt the data you put into the database. It's saving and decrypted at reading with a symmetric key that you throw away in case the guy wants to be forgotten. That could be like a solution that I've heard of in some companies. They keep a repository of all the encryption keys per user, and if a user wants to be forgotten, you just burn the encryption key. So any data that is related to them, it just gets blown away. Another technique is to store data in such a way that you can't. So anything that has to do with the person itself, the personal identification information, you keep in one microservice under heavy weaponry, heavy validation, and security checks. But anything else related to it relates just to the ID. And at the end, you just blow up the ID. So don't use, user emails as the natural key. Use just an opaque UUID, and at the end, you just blow up the personal identification table, that row. So you can't relate the data with the personal identification information. It's a nasty topic. And definitely you want an opinion of some legal. It's a nasty topic. It is recorded and it will be shared afterwards. I will put the link in the chat right now just in case, and I will answer the remaining questions. In the chat, in the Zoom, is the link for YouTube. What else? For example, Keycloak doesn't have plug-and-play mechanism for GDPR. But it's not Keycloak's. You could think that Keycloak is their responsibility, but Keycloak is just concerned about handling identity and authorization. Not all the information, address, phone number. Keeping phone number in Keycloak is strange, right? I've seen companies building side systems integrated with Keycloak in which they keep the personal information, right? More session about security. It's a kind of a niche topic. As far as I don't know. Totally agree. Email is also a GDPR. Yes, email is tricky. Email is tricky. So using the user email is a bad practice as a preferred username. Use the UUID and keep the email hidden if you got it from a social login, for example. Don't pass user email along as the username. Don't. Tricky. You need to be concerned at every level of your design, in every microservice. Look, Alexander, for you especially, if you want to chat more about this, you know where to find me. If you want like a brainstorm, like a bidirectional dialogue to tell me what you got, and maybe I can learn from you more. All right. So contact me. We'll sit together and talk about it. I'm also interested about this. Look, Zoltan worked on a system where sensitive data was stored with a one-way encryption key, but not one-way, symmetric. Otherwise, how would you decrypt it? And then you burn the key, basically. Good. More ideas. Yeah. Okay. That's a hashing plus salting. Okay, very good. You store that information in a way that you cannot decipher it. You cannot read it back. You can only check whether it's part of a group. So you take the group, you salt it, you hash it, you get a bcrypt, and then you check whether you are belonging to that group. Very good idea. Nice one. Really nice one. All right. It just occurred to me. I have an idea to how I can combine this with a question I got yesterday when I talked about OAuth hash. And someone asked a very creepy question. If the token contains the authorizations that the user has for multiple systems, can I somehow hide those authorizations? I will show you right now a GVT token here. The roles that you have in this system, this could be decrypted. Or even if someone gets this GVT, would not know what exactly role you can play. You will see blah, 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 blah. They will not know if that's a big role or a small role or what you can do. Maybe. The code will be published in GitHub. Yes, it is already on GitHub. The link, I will put it right now in the chat. If you are watching this online, after this blue thing disappears, it will be there also in the IntelliJ. Now I'll paste it in Zoom. Here is the code. You can go ahead and play. Watch the recording, see the classes that I've been through. Right? This is where the code is also for the YouTube watchers. Okay, how could you make a code with such serious security errors? Outsource stuff. Not outsource stuff is bad. Rush the team. Yes, ship more features. Curious about your opinion about pre-authorize. You would combine also with business requirements? More details, please. What do you mean? Business requirements. Authorization in some systems becomes a key business discussion. In others, no. Business should be aware about the roles that can do stuff. What do you mean business requirements? Where there are no SOC requests because around money. What do you mean? I don't get what you mean, Mihai. But Alexandru, pre-authorize. I might suspect where you're going over there. I may be wrong, but just a second. Training, service. I promise to... Folks, if you have to leave. I'm just answering the friends here. If you have I don't want to intrude your life, so go ahead. I might have at some point over here in the delete, let's play this example. I might have a pre-authorize, which has the role admin, but not that. I want to say like this bean of authorizer dot can delete training of this training ID. This is Copilot helping me out here. This. And then I will have a bean somewhere that implements business checks, whether or not I can indeed delete this training. Am I the admin for that language? Bloating roles. Oh, yeah. Right. That's another story. Like, don't do pre-authorize and check for roles. Don't do this. Instead, try to go for has, I don't want to freak you out with Copilot though. Has authority, training delete, thank you. This is better. This is Love. If your application has sufficiently complicated roles, like more than 3 roles. If you have more than 3 roles and 30, 40 features, do not use role level authorization. Use authority level authorization. Role-based versus authority-based. At first, I didn't understand the acronyms. Yes, you're right. Role-based authorization checks versus authority-based authorization checks. This is authority. This is role. It's obvious. It's better to go for fine-grained feature stuff. Okay. Progress bar. If it reaches the end, I will finish. All right. Yeah, I also have to kind of drop. Yeah, and then beep, beep. More questions? No. Good. See you for the next one. Don't miss the next one. It will be mind-blowing about correcting code as you go with the compiler plugin. It's incredibly insane. Ballas, Teachable changed their fees. So the short answer is no. All right. Email me if you want to see what we do. All right. Greetings from Morocco. I forgot to ask you where you're from. Go on, go. You have lives. Go. See you next time. Bye-bye. And I need to change the end stream here. And close this baby over here. Cancel end meeting for all. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Hi, Jon from Moldavia. Bye. Poland. That's a nice way to say bye-bye. Bye from Poland, bye from Moldavia, bye from Morocco, bye from Belarus, bye from Serbia. Oh my God, I will stay here. Bye from where? Come on. Bye from Spain, Hungary, bye. What? Bye from France. Oh my God. Bye from India. Wow, Croatia, Bucharest. Oh my God. Bye from Bucharest. Excellent. Cluj. Love you, folks. This feels amazing. All right. See you for the next time. Bye for Michelle. All right. Okay. Ending in 5. Belgium. The country are we missing? 3, 2, 1. I'll cut this. Okay. We don't want to go. Bye. Bye. I gotta kick you out. Bye.